and welcome back to another episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid, and today is another one of these wonderful and amazing days. I get to spend some more time with the wonderful, fantabulous men of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. Today I have with me Walter Dixon IV and Jamal Jackson. They are currently the Polaris and Vice Polaris of Sigma Omega out there in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I'm looking forward to spending some time with them today. But first and foremost, as I always do, gentlemen, I take a quick moment to pause. Say thank you to both of you for making time for me today. Time is a gift. Once we give it, we cannot get it back. So I truly appreciate you both setting aside this time in your day, especially you for going to make sure you had the proper gear on and to make sure you had time to talk with me today. And with that, gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Now, my opening question is always to each of you. How long have you been Iota men and where did you pledge?
Well, I'll start. So December 11th will make 3 years that I have been in Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. I am a Fall 22 initiate of the Sigma Omega New Orleans Alumni Chapter here in New Orleans. So strong.
All righty. So you pledged later in life. Is there a reason you said, okay, this time in my journey, I'm ready for this?
Yes, when I was at my undergrad, which was Dillard University, the Jewel of Gentilly, located here in New Orleans, there was no Iota chapter there. There was a chapter, but it just wasn't active. And we tried our hardest to reactivate that chapter, but there were too many obstacles in our way to get the chapter reactivated. Communication, funding, and lack of members. So once I graduated from Dillard, I was able to find a grad chapter, an alumni chapter in the state, and I was able to go through their process.
Okay, awesome, beautiful. And you, sir, Mr. Jamal Jackson?
So I've been in 8 or 17 years. Actually, December 1st will make 17 years. And I pledged in the grad chapter, alumni chapter, Iota Omega in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I was actually pledged later in life. I pledged when I was about 6 years into the Marine Corps. And I pledged, it was 5 of us online. And I pledged because this was the one for me. Like as a Marine, you know, we're the few to proud. As Iotas, we're the few to proud. So it was just a nice fit.
Okay, North Carolina. I was born in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So, okay. How long were you stationed there?
I was stationed there about 4 years. 4 years.
Yes. Okay. And I know my Southern folks treated you right while you were there.
Oh yeah, second home. I have a property there, so yeah, second home for me.
Alrighty. Well, as I was reading, Sigma Omega has been around for a while. Could one of you kind of give me the brief history of your chapter? Come on now, both of y'all the leaders. Come on.
That it or me?
Huh? Either one.
Either one. Okay. So yes, Sigma Omega has been around. It is the only alumni chapter here in New Orleans. Of course, we have other chapters in our surrounding areas. The only other alumni chapter would be the one in Baton Rouge, but we do have a few local undergrad chapters that are still surrounding this area. But as far as alumni chapters, we are the only one and the oldest in this city, and I believe in this state, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
It was started by our elder. His name is Calvin Lee, Calvin Fat Cal Lee, who crossed at Dillard University for the Alpha Kappa chapter back in 74, 75. I don't want to, make him seem old, but yes, him along with brother Mackenzie and a few other brothers that predate my time. They started the Sigma Omega chapter.
Okay. I just had an epiphany listening to you talk. You're 3 years in and you're sitting in the Polaris. Was there a learning curve?
Yeah, so I'm 3 years in, and I am a twice elected Polaris. When I actually had joined Sigma Omega, we were facing a shift in leadership my predecessor, former Polaris, my prophyte Langston, he had accepted a job in California. He works on films and television sets. So unfortunately, he had to leave to pursue his career, and that left the Polaris seat vacant. At the time, secretary / social media person for the chapter. And of course, I'm trying to get the brothers together, trying to make sure that this transition was great on our behalf. And we held elections as quickly as we could to facilitate the needs of the chapter as well as the fraternity. So when we held elections, when the opportunity for Polaris opened up, I was nominated, and it was unanimous that I had became Polaris. And we just recently held elections again, and Jamal and I were fortunate enough to still hold our Polaris and Vice Polaris seats. So I am young in the game, and heavy is the head that wears the crown. I know.
There you go. There you go. So Jamal, let's pretend he's not here. Is he doing a good job?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So for those who know, in New Orleans, there's quite a few phenomenal HBCUs. Does your chapter serve as advisors to any of those universities?
Yes, one university that we advise is Dillard University. We have an undergraduate chapter, as I mentioned, the Alpha Kappa chapter there. We are starting our expansion and recruitment efforts at other schools. I attend the University of New Orleans. I'm a grad student trying to obtain my master's in film and theater. And we have talked to the Center for Student Engagement and Greek Life Office about potential expansion efforts. We were reached out today, actually, this afternoon by Southern University at New Orleans to continue our expansion efforts there. And Tulane University has now opened up expansion and Greek outreach efforts now, because they were closed some time ago. But now they've opened up those expansion efforts, and we can begin our intake and recruitment efforts there. We also have a young man who reached out to us that is at McNeese in Lake Charles. He is interested in joining Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. The chapter is inactive on that campus, but he reached out to see if there was anything that we could possibly do to reactivate that chapter. So we have our foots in the door. We're just, trying to make sure all the paperwork, all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, and everyone is helping us out.
Beautiful. About how many brothers are there in the chapter currently?
In this chapter, Jamal, you'd be able to answer that since you are in charge of reclamation and retention.
So we have 13 brothers active. Total, we have 22. So we have 22 total, but only 13, I would say, financial.
Okay, but holding it down. Okay. Now, I saw you gentlemen, as I was saying, I was nosy on the Facebook page doing my thing. I saw one of the community service activities that you gentlemen are involved in. Was that Baldwin Bookstore? What do you gentlemen do there? What is that about?
So throughout the year, Sigma Omega has partnered with NOLA Greek and the Greater New Orleans National Pan-Hellenic Council to partner with Baldwin and Company. Certain months throughout the year, we go and we read books to kids, as well as give away books to young kids, and we host different drives. So, for example, the month of October, it was a story time where brothers from my chapter or respective members of different orgs would read books to kids, give out candies, and we would give them books. We would accept donations for backpack drives, for school supplies, for any toiletries or any food canned items that we could give back to the community. Our next drive actually is next week on the 14th. We will be doing a toy drive at Baldwin and Company, as well as a story reading time, which I am going to be a story reader for.
Okay. Now that brings me into my next question. Now, I'm sure that Sigma Omega is full of very powerful brothers, no doubt. But I saw that you guys lean heavy towards brothers who are powerhouses in entertainment, artistic, and creative fields. Um, I think you and did I see that you have a book out or something like that? Or could you kind of pop your collar for a minute for me, please?
Okay, yeah, so I guess I'll take that one. Yeah, so yeah, I was in the Marine Corps actually for 27 years. I just retired 2 years ago.
Thank you for
So I
your
retired
service.
as an E9, a Master Gunnery Sergeant, which is the highest grade in the Marine Corps. And during that time, I actually did a few other things, but one of the big things I did was start a book publishing company and also published my own book off the book publishing company. With that being said, what I do, I also travel around to speak at different schools. So I offer them an opportunity to have a book published under my company. So with that scholarship, I also have a scholarship. So with the scholarship and also the book publishing deal, it's an opportunity for kids to have something to look forward to. So I offer that to them at different schools in the Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas areas. So that's one thing I do, as well as I got my master's in human resources, and I do have a film. So actually, I'll show you real quick. So this is the book. It's called Done with the
That's
Chase.
beautiful. That is beautiful.
It's called Done with the Chase. So we have the funding and everything together. It's going to be a feature-length film because I have my daughter. She's actually in film and television school, film and television at LSU. So she's on board. In addition with Walter, he's on board. So we have the nucleus, the skeletons built up. So next year we'll begin filming an adaptation of this book, Done with the Chase.
Now, hold the book up for me one more time, please. What is the book about? Done with the Chase? What is
Yes, so it's a novel. It's a novel. It's actually about two boys, and it talks about them from the end of high school throughout their college career. One of the brothers, he actually escaped, a bad situation as far as, getting in trouble with the law, and he's on the other side of it. The younger brother's about to go through the same things. The older brother's trying to save him from those things, but it actually pulls the brother back into it, and it ends up not well for the older brother. And then it takes that for the younger brother to realize what he was trying to do the whole time.
Okay.
And it was actually dedicated to my daughter who I have a scholarship for. So the book is in dedication to her as well.
Awesome. So expand a little bit on the scholarship and your daughter, and how do people apply for the scholarship?
So the scholarship they can apply for it. It's on my Instagram, the number 3, THRE_press. That's my Instagram. And also I have a Facebook, THRE, the number 3 point, POINT, press. And that's on Facebook. And the scholarship is for my daughter. So my daughter died. She got killed when she was 18. So when she turned 18, I was actually stationed in Virginia at the time. I got orders to move back here so I can see her off to college and then watch her graduate. So by the time I watched her graduate, I moved her into college within a month. She was at a college party and she got killed sitting in the parking lot with 2 guys shooting at each other with assault weapons. So with that said, she wasn't able to finish her college career. She, like I said, just turned 18, just started college. It was her first month actually in college. So once that happened, I just wanted to, in her memory, get other young adults who's doing the right thing to push through and finish the school that she didn't get an opportunity to finish in her name.
Okay. So the two of you are working to get this to be a film?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be darned. Okay. So we just need to, I need to rally up the troops. We just need more funding. What do we need here?
Well, the funding is complete. I have some grants. I applied for some grants, but right now I'm just putting the legwork in as far as cinematographers, location scouts, and other things to put in place, to get everything, up and running to actually have the feature-length film production or the feature-length film in place.
Okay, military man can't sit still, huh?
No, not at all.
Okay, and I'm a military brat, and you kind of touched on this, but I want to make sure that I give you your hand claps because I am a military brat, and I would be remiss if I did not recognize what is this Master Gunnery Sergeant Jamal Jackson Day? What was that about?
So the Master Gunnery store in Jackson Day is, like I say, my hometown is Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and I left there very young, and it's gotten worse throughout the years. But during the time of my military career, I've always went back and tried to help, and just saw a lot of bloodshed, a lot of bloodshed, and a lot of things as I'm pouring into the community. So through my trials and tribulations, they've helped me understand the community. And then the resources I was able to get from the Marine Corps, I was able to put back into the community. So once they saw my ascension in the Marine Corps and they saw that I attained the highest rank, that's just was something that the community needed to see someone of their color, a Black guy, for those other black men who are dropping out of high school, who are back and forth in jail, who just are, doing things that they shouldn't be doing. They needed a bright light. So, the mayor, saw that, I was still coming back despite, other people, having resources and not pouring into the community. So once I retired, they saw all the other accolades that I had, as far as the films and the books and the homes and the real estate and other things that I've done. And they awarded me that day because they wanted to, after I retired, they wanted me to continue that pouring into the community. Awesome. And appreciate the fact that I kept pouring into the community.
Beautiful. For some of us, the best thing is for us to get out of our community, get out of our neighborhood and see the world. So that is, the military has provided that opportunity for a lot of us. Does it take you a long time to get from Arkansas to what's the time difference between New Orleans and Arkansas?
So for me, it's about a 5-hour drive.
Oh, okay. My geography is bad.
From my house to Pine Bluff, Arkansas, it's a 5-hour drive.
Well, let me get back nosy into Sigma Omega, because I can go all over the place here. So we talked about some of the work that you do, reading to the kids and the school supplies. 2025 is shortly coming upon us here. In what ways will we see Sigma Omega out in the community? What ways will New Orleans see you guys putting in that good work?
The beautiful thing about Jamal's position in the chapter is that he is in charge of our Reclamation and Retention Committee. And just to shed a little bit of light on that, Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated had created Reclamation and Retention to assist brothers who had been out of the fold for 10, plus years or any amount of time. Maybe they have dealt with issues in their personal life. Maybe they started strong in Iota, something happened and they fell flat and they put it on the back burner, and they've been trying to figure out ways to get back in it. So Iota came with the great idea to pull these brothers back in by letting them know we have a fee that you can pay that will cover what you may have missed in the past. So Jamal, I put him in charge of Reclamation and Retention to reach out to any brothers in the New Orleans area and let them know that you can, join us. We're not looking for your money. We just want you to be a part of our organization because there is an Iota presence here, and we're trying to make that known. To find brothers high and low in every crack and crevice under a boulder or stone, okay? And he's done a phenomenal job. And every single time he reads his report to me, there is an everlasting proudness I have in him. So with that, with more brothers that we're bringing in to the chapter, that's more ideas and more expansion in New Orleans that we can finally do to put our hands on certain areas in the city that, we may not be able to touch. I know for a fact that we received a brother by the name of Thaddeus. He is a go-getter. He is a strong-willed brother. He is dedicated to the fold. He has brought a lot of interesting, great ideas to the chapter. One recent idea that we just did for the community was a Golden Love paint and sip, which we had October 31st, Halloween Day. It was a fantastic turnout. Everyone dressed, everyone enjoyed the raffles that we had. Everyone painted incredibly beautiful canvases. I always tell people I'm interested in the arts, not the crafts. I outdid myself with my canvas. So we decided to try to do this again next year around Valentine's Day. It's going to be a Valentine's Day themed paint and sip. We are also doing mentor programs, and we're revisiting a lot of other middle schools to start up mentorship there so that we can coach and mentor and uplift young brothers like ourselves.
Beautiful. I like that. I like, and that's one thing I truly, truly appreciate about D9 is that you do go back and impact the younger generation. So I just think that's a beautiful thing. Now you mentioned reclamation and retention. So for the brothers out there who went to college and didn't become a member in their undergrad years, currently for Iota Phi Theta, what are the requirements for a man to become a member?
It is, if they weren't able to do it their undergrad year and they would like to do it, if they know of a chapter in their city or if they know a chapter in their state, they can go on that website for that chapter. For us, we do have a Southern Region website as well as an Instagram page, an X account, Facebook, what have you. All the requirements are listed there. Of course, you can show proof of your undergraduate success. If you are a part of the military or former military, you can show proof of that. You have to do an essay. There is an interview process where you will meet the brothers so that we can understand and get to know you on a personal level, what makes you best fit to be a member, a brother of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity, Inc. After such process has been done, the brothers will meet, vote, and then we will take care of you on the next process, which is paying your dues, making sure that you get acclimated with your history. And if you have passed the steps and the tests, then you will be in Iota land.
Okay. All righty. So you two gentlemen, the fearless leaders of Sigma Omega, what would be your hopes and dreams and aspiration for the chapter moving forward? What would you like to see?
For me, as the Polaris, I would love to see more brothers going out into the community, no matter how old, no matter how young, no matter how new, no matter how seasoned. I just want brothers to get out and get active.
Mm-hmm.
As Iotas, we suffer a really bad hit, a bad rep, because we are young. You know, we were founded in 1963 on the campus of Morgan State College, now Morgan State University. And we are coming up on our international conclave, our biennial conclave, which is going to be held in Indianapolis, Indiana. And we're, over 63 plus years now, where you have other organizations who have had more skin in the game for 118 years, to use Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated as an example, who celebrated their Founders Day December 4th. So we receive a pretty bad rep because we are the new kids on the block. But I'm trying to change that narrative as the Polaris of this chapter, as an Iota in this city and state. I want brothers to show up and show out, as I always tell my brothers in my chapter. Even if one brother shows up and wears his letters, wears his shield, his jacket, or what have you, any piece of paraphernalia, then that sparks a conversation that has someone walk over and say, "Oh my goodness, I've never met an Iota before. Can you please tell me more about your fraternity's history?" And for the longest, when I became a member of Iota Phi Theta, everyone would walk up to me and say, "You're the first and only Iota I've ever seen." Well, now, as my Vice Polaris has said, we are, 13, 22 strong. And now that answer is starting to change. So in 2025, boots on the ground, I know for a fact Iota is going to be here and we're going to make a strong presence. Jamal?
Yeah, I'll just add on to that, piggybacking off what Walter said. As the reclamation, in the charge of the reclamation program, I would want to add to what we already have gotten going as far as getting brothers in, because I speak for myself. When I joined, I really didn't know anything about Iota, but as I read up on it, I just noticed the camaraderie and everything that they were doing. So with that being said, especially for New Orleans, as a hotbed for events and everyone's coming, I want to spread that visibility to everyone. Once they come into town, they'll see Iotas and they'll know what we're about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You mentioned, Walter, you mentioned coming in contact with somebody who said they'd never seen one. To this day, I have never been able to touch one of you guys. I have never so I'm going to have to be more intentional about that. Say, hey, I just want to see one of you guys in person. But young does not mean not mighty. So you guys are coming in with that heat and making moves and making things happen. I think I even saw on the national website, you guys even have your own wine brand or something. I don't think you guys you're making major moves. So I mean, hey, big ups to Iota. So
we're and just to, throw a little flair on there, we're the only Divine Nine organization with our wine brand. Just that out. Don't know.
And everybody can purchase. It's the holidays now. We probably should get a plug in here so people can go ahead and purchase that stuff.
Go on our national website. You are able to purchase yourself. They have different packages, so you can order 1 bottle, 3, 5. You can order the box set, which actually has a carving and engraving of our most honorable founders of the fraternity. So it does make for a very beautiful conversation piece, and it also makes a very beautiful and delicious party favor.
Awesome. Okay. Now, you guys, as I mentioned earlier, you guys are in New Orleans, hotbed of HBCUs. You gentlemen who are more seasoned, y'all still doing step shows and stuff like that? Look at that smile. Look at that smile. Look at that smile. We still stepping?
So I can step. So yeah, we have been stepping. But like I say, we're just getting our numbers up. Because when I actually came aboard, like I'm from Louisiana. Well, actually, I was born in Arkansas, but I've only been in this chapter about 4 years. And when I initially joined, there were only about 3 or 4 of us active. And thanks to Walter, as we just heard, the numbers are, heading in the right direction. So now we're finally getting enough bodies to be able to step. And then even though my old bones are cracking, I still try to, do a little 1-2 every now and then. But yes, we still do step. And that's another thing. With everybody coming in, it's just nice for us to all get together and, like I say, bring visibility to our chapter and Iotas.
I see a 4-legged friend back there. He wants to get out there.
Oh.
Well, let me ask you, I have 2 more questions for you. Well, 3 more questions, and then I'll let you gentlemen go. Just a reflective question. It's quite obvious that I'm very appreciative of the D9 as a whole. I just think the impact that you all have in our communities, it just can't be, you just can't put a price tag on that. But I run into people who they only see the letters or they only see the parties, and they don't really understand the full scope that D9 has in our communities all across the globe. In reflection, what would you say if D9 wasn't around, what would we be losing in our communities?
That is an awesome question. And I primarily blame media for the bad rep that Divine Nine organizations get, because like you said, they do see the letters, strolling, they do see the stepping, they do see the entertainment side of it. And, once you join an organization, there's this false sense of popularity that you get without actually understanding that a lot of work goes into these organizations. And what people on the outside looking in don't see is that this is a business. All the stepping and strolling and letters, all the popularity, that's all cute and all, that's a plus, a bonus, I guess I can say. But at the end of the day, we were taught in this fraternity that Iota has always been in the business of change. And we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into everything that we do, and if we didn't have these organizations, if there was no Divine Nine, there would be no space for Black excellence. There would be no space for Black advancement. There would be no space for revolutions intellectually. We would lose a lot of brothers and sisters culturally if we didn't have these Divine Nine organizations. And I've been in the game only 3 years, almost 3 years next week, but I can attest and justify that if I didn't have Iota, or if another brother or sister in their respective org did not have their letters or their organizations, I most definitely would be lost in the sauce.
I like that. That was beautiful.
Yeah, I want to add to that. I would say that, and I'm going to step out of the politically correct box for a second. I would say that in this generation, as far as in our culture, everybody wants to belong to something. And if there were no D9, there's already us young Black men gravitating towards gangs, and you hear the guys get out of jail, and that's like a bonding for them. So without D9, you would have more of our brothers gravitating towards that direction. But instead of a positive direction for the D9, we have we pride ourselves on education, positivity, and doing things for the community. So for brothers to have that thing to come and bond with instead of those other negative things, you would lose that. As a D9, if a D9 was non-existent, you would lose that, positive cultural group for brothers in our community to be a part of.
Beautiful, beautiful. It has always puzzled me when I hear people pushing back on D9, and I'm like, you have no idea what's actually going on, the work that's going on. I mean, just open your eyes and see. It's just always puzzling to me. But anyways, let me ask you one more question and then my random question. And this question is not a D9 question. It's not an Iota question. It's a New Orleans, Louisiana question, okay? So as locals, what tips, advice would you give to a newbie coming to town for something like Mardi Gras or Essence Festival to survive that whole ordeal? What's some insider scoop you would give?
So I would take that. Yeah, I would take that. I would say, don't be afraid to be a tourist. Stay inside the tourist areas, because you get people that want to, do local things. However, if you don't have a local to take you into those local areas and do local things, I would not be afraid to be a tourist and stay inside the French quarters, the French markets, the Bourbon streets, those type things where, you're covered. They have a police presence and, you know where you're at. So that would be my number one thing for people that's going. And they have food spots in those areas as well. So unless you know someone and you're going there with them and they're there with you, I would just be a tourist, stay in those local, those tourist areas.
Get your beads and stay put, huh? Anything else, Mr. Dixon?
No, he touched on it. Yes.
All righty. So this is my random question. So since there's two of you, I guess I'll give you the opportunity. You can either answer the same question, or if you want me to pull another question afterwards, I will do that. So let's see what we've got here for the random question here. How many days past expiration date before you throw the milk out?
Yeah, Jamal.
I'll let you take. I'm lactose intolerant, so I'll let you take those.
This is something that happens with age, right? We used to tear up ice cream when we were younger, but we get older, like, I can't do this. Okay.
Man, it's crazy because I have milk in my fridge and the throwaway date is the 18th. But and God, the people that are gonna look at your podcast are probably gonna look at me like I'm crazy. But I do the smell test. So I'll shake it, open it up. If it doesn't smell bad, it's going back in the fridge.
There you go. It's too expensive. Food is too expensive these days. Okay, so since you're lactose intolerant, let me ask another one here. Let's see what we got here. What is the most useful thing your mom or dad has taught you?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say they taught me patience and perspective. And so just a quick story, my dad, he actually got killed about 10 years ago. And during that time, not to drag it along, but my dad was on drugs. He was on drugs growing up, it was domestic violence. I grew up pretty in a rough time.
Military saved you.
Military saved me. So but even though with that being said, like he lost his mom at like 10 years old, he was out on his own and he made it, even though, throughout the years he got hooked on drugs. When he got off, then that's when 2 years later, that's when he got killed. But he kept us all together. He kept us all together despite, what we went through. He stayed persistent. And whatever the cops come, and he wanted to keep his kids together. It was three of us, me, my brother and my sister. So it just taught me persistence. And my mom, she never went to school. She graduated high school and she got married, and she was with my dad the whole time. And they didn't have anything. So once they started having us, they just had to be mom and dad, taking care of kids at a young age. So they taught me persistence and patience. And that's what got me through 27 years in the Marine Corps. And that's an entirely different story. Getting through the Marine Corps as a Black man, that's a totally different story. So having patience and persistence, it was key in getting me through.
Yes, indeed. My dad used to always tell me about, my dad's quite older than you. He just turned 73, but racism and all of that stuff in the military and just all of that stuff, just dealing with it. But it got us out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina as a family. So, and it has blessed me. I lived all over the world. So I'm an advocate for the military in certain situations. So, well, anyways, gentlemen, let me stop because I'm going to keep on running my mouth and we will be here for the next 2 hours. And you folks have more to do today than talk to me. So may I kindly ask how if you could tell us how we connect with Sigma Omega of the social link. So if anybody wants to peek in on you guys when they're down your way and possibly get a tour guide so they can get outside of the French Quarter.
Yes, so we do have an Instagram page, we do have a email, and we do have a Facebook. I run the Instagram page, and I also run the chapter email. If you would like to get in touch with us via email, our email is Sigma Omega Iotas@gmail.com. Our Instagram page is, if I'm not mistaken, it is NOLA Iota, or it's New Orleans Iota, but please let me check real quick. Yes, it's New Orleans Iota.
New Orleans, it's Nolans.
It's
Nolans.
It's Nolans.
Nolans.
Yeah.
You could tell out of towner, right?
So yes, please, you can shoot us a DM, shoot us an email. We'll be sure to get back with you in a timely manner. If there's anything that we can do to make your stay, your trip here in New Orleans comforting, we will try our best.
Okay. And the Essence Festival, they have the step show. Don't they have that at the Essence Festival? Is that a part of the thing? I think.
No.
It's so long since I've been down there. Okay, okay.
Step show for Essence Fest, but they do have one for the Bayou Classic that just recently happened.
Okay, I'll be interested to see you seasoned gentlemen do your thing. I'm gonna have to see if I can look up. Well, gentlemen, I am so proud, and I'm more impressed that the tribe of few are just making major moves in New Orleans, and I'm happy to be here because, as I was saying, I'm a Saints fan. I'm the only one in my crew, so I get picked on a lot of times. So I'm glad to be in some company today, and I'm impressed to see what you're doing. I'm impressed to see the leadership, even though you're young, you're coming in strong. I'm just the military. You guys are awesome. I'm so proud.
Thank you enough for inviting us here. It really means a lot to us. The exposure is great. Having to talk about these very important topics means a great deal to us. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Awesome. And you guys just keep on being the example for other men to follow behind, for other communities to see you guys doing great things. So just keep on being amazing.
All right.
That is all for this week's episode of The Male Perspective. I'm your host, Lana Reid, and I will see everybody next time.